What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the ViceCityGamerz podcast. Just a bunch of dudes down here in the Vice City area coming together to talk about gaming. Today, we got some special topics for y'all. We're going to be going over The Last of Us 2 remaster, some controversy going on with that. BJ's going to talk about the Xbox tax. We'll get into that here in a minute. We're going to cover a little bit about this PlayStation Portal new device that came out with a PlayStation, if you haven't heard. And little interesting something about how Steam may be leading the way for game preservation. So if any of this interests you, feel free to stick around. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can help us out. And yeah, man, stick around, see what you like. So what's up, boys? What's going on?
What's going on, fellas? What's going on? How you guys doing?
Living the dream, man. A little bit after Thanksgiving now, did a little bit of traveling, got to see snow for a little bit,
Nice.
not too much gaming, but plenty of family time, so it's all good. How about you guys?
Just a little bit of gaming and a lot of turkey and other stuff. But other than that, same old stuff. Things don't
Good
change.
stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, man. We'll jump right into it. So there's been a little bit of controversy because it's just been put out there that they're remastering The Last of Us 2, which is a game that came out just a couple of years ago on the PlayStation 4. And this is a game that if you put it into your PS5, you're going to be playing it at basically upscaled already, 60 frames. It's going to be, I guess, 4K or 1440p, whatever it is. So it's a game that basically is already, playable on the PS5. And a lot of people are losing their minds about this. And at first, I will tell you, I didn't think about it too much. I said, that's bullshit. Like, come on, man. The game just came out. They're just trying to make money. And I'm sure they are trying to make money because at the end of the day, whether it's blue Sony, green Xbox, red Nintendo, they're all trying to make money. And if they're smart, they'll listen to the consumers and they'll do the right thing. And then there'll be money. They'll make money and keep people happy. But, not always the case. But here we have a case where they are bringing back a game that was just out and they're remastering it. And, playing devil's advocate, I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, but why? What good is that for anybody outside of Sony themselves? Obviously, wanting to make money off this. And I started thinking, let's say PlayStation 5 is your first PlayStation console, you're trying it out, and people are telling you about all these games that you just have to try, you have to try. And all of a sudden you come up to The Last of Us 2 and you're like, it's a PS4 game? And I'm like, bro, I got a PS5. I want to play PS5 games. And when it comes to PS5, PS4, it's a little different because these last couple generations have kind of merged together in a way where you could easily play PS4 games on PS5. But there are versions of these games that are stuck on previous consoles like PS3, PS2, whatever, like the whole Resident Evil 4 situation. They remade the game, but they didn't just take the bones and then just enhance the graphics and the frame rate and all that. No, they remade the game and they stamped it with the PS5. So, we're good. But when it comes to The Last of Us, it's so recent. It's such a recent game that understandably so, people are like, bro, what is this? What's going on here? So it kind of made me think back of the Resident Evil 1, the director's cut that came out on the PlayStation 1. So I know, Chris, you were telling me you weren't really big into Resident Evil, but
Right.
Resident Evil started back on the PS1, and it was a classic game, survival horror. They probably lost a good amount of potential customers on that one, but
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden the PlayStation now comes out with the DualShock controller where you've got the two sticks where you could use those to move around if you'd like. So what they did is they put the game out again and they called it the Director's Cut Edition, DualShock version. It had like this long name, but they added a few things to it, some nice little Easter eggs. Um, I don't know if the graphics were enhanced at all, but they added a few different things and then they put the game back out. So I look over at The Last of Us 2, and I don't know if they did so much of that where they're adding things in, but I feel like when it comes to this whole remaster debate of whether it should be looked at as a new game or like a cheap money grab, I guess my question is like, are they bringing things to the table? Are they giving you extra stuff and a reason to come back to the game? Like seeing Resident Evil 4 with much better graphics and a better, more enhanced story and a longer game is enough for me, but maybe not for everybody. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Um, I think for the player who played Last of Us 2 from the last generation, might not be something that they'll be excited for. But me, I played Last of Us 1 for PlayStation 3, and I skipped Sony's last generation console. So I haven't played Last of Us 2. So I'm hoping that this year I get the PS5 and I'm able to play Last of Us 2. And to me, it's a bonus if it comes out for the PlayStation 5 with better graphics, better better frame rate, better
Mhm.
everything. I think that's for me. That's great for first time PlayStation 5 owners. I think that's a great freaking a great thing.
Mhm.
I have no issues with that. So
Awesome, awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, man. I think it's a pretty good thing, and I guess it. And the thing is, it's possible to do it wrong. It's possible to completely mess that up. And an example of that would be that when they make, and I think about talked about this on the first podcast we did, when they did the Grand Theft Auto, super duper exclusive deluxe edition, whatever, where they took Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, and they put it all together. And then the game comes out, and now they need to do updates and everything because there's a bunch of things that aren't working out, and it's just a mess. Like they did a half-ass job,
Hmm.
which maybe they didn't have the money to do that. Wink, wink. Rockstar, like, come on,
Right.
what's your excuse to not do it right? And then speaking of Rockstar, they actually put out Red Dead Redemption on the Switch and other
And
modern
that
consoles and
was
everything. Yeah, they didn't do anything to it. It doesn't
yeah.
look better. It doesn't have better frame rate. And then Konami does the same shit with Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid comes out and somehow it runs worse than it did on the PlayStation 2, which it ran great. It had 60 frames for a game like that. 60 frames on the PS2 was insane. And these new consoles can't do it. Like these guys are being cheap. But when done right, I think it's good.
You know
I
what
think it's
was a
good.
disappointing game that I was so hyped to finally be released on Xbox was James Bond 007, and it tanked. I hated it. It's like, what's the point of this? Like, revamp it a little bit, give it a little better graphics, make it multiplayer, which they didn't do. Which I was hoping for that, man. I was crossing my fingers that it would be like I could get on the online with my boys and do it up like we used to do back in the day, right? But that was a disappointment. So let's
That
see. I mean,
sucks.
Last of Us 2, I'm excited for because, like I said, I'm going to be a first time, hopefully, PlayStation 5 console owner. And I skipped the last generation, so I didn't get to play part two. And I love part one. So now I'm excited to see. Hopefully, that they'll release it, and it's going to be this amazing game. That I have nothing but positive feelings for it. So I'm not worried about it. Everybody else who's probably hating on it's already played it, so they're seeing it as like we're getting gypped for more money. Not me. It's going to be my first time
Yeah, man.
experience, so I'm excited.
Yeah, and another thing related to this that I thought kind of it just just kind of bring another layer to it is that when you look at Game Pass, for example, you have a lot of games from way back in the day that have been upscaled and brought up to speed, maybe some better than others,
Hmm.
but you don't have people complaining about that issue anymore because basically Xbox's backwards compatibility is so good that it kind of removes the lines. If you want to play Halo 1 or 2, so be it. You could do that without a problem. And you start to almost forget which console it was on originally because it's all right there in front of you and you could access it and everything just works, you know? And then with Steam, which we'll talk about Steam again later, but same situation. Like if you played a game 10 years ago, it's still on there. The graphics are still good and maybe they upscale it or remaster it or whatever. You're having the same situation go on, but because the game isn't stuck behind some kind of stuck with a certain console or anything like that, it kind of blurs the line of that situation. And then all of a sudden it's okay to remaster an old game because it's good for the consumer, right? I don't know, that was just something I was thinking about, that it's a weird situation. you know there's certain games, PlayStation games, that certain people hate on, and then vice versa. There's games that come out for Xbox that your PlayStation fanboys are gonna go crazy on. So you know how that goes.
I think, but when they remaster something, I think those are geared towards players that have never played that game to begin with. For someone to have a fresh experience on it, for someone who's never played it before, you know what I mean? Like someone who's never played it before to have a fresh grasp on the game and get the nostalgia that one of you had back when the original came out. So I think it's geared more towards that consumer, not
Mhm.
for the consumer that's already played it.
Yeah, I think Metal Gear Solid 4 is one that comes to mind that people constantly talk about. The game is stuck on the PS3. The only way for you to play it is to go find a PS3, grab the game. You can
Mm.
also emulate, but that's it. And Bloodborne was a huge game, big deal, and everybody wants to play it again with better
Graphics,
graphics and
right?
60 frames. But these jokers won't do it. Maybe one day they'll surprise us, but
Yeah,
up until now,
maybe.
it's just sitting there. It's like a meme at this point.
If it was Microsoft, it would be on there.
Probably, no lie, it probably would be. So what's up, BJ? I know you wanted to talk about the Xbox tax, man. You ready to drop some knowledge on us?
Well,
Oh,
nah, I
yeah,
gotta
let,
talk
let it let
about
it come
this.
in at Last of Us. Last of Us.
I
You got to
gotta
come in
talk
Last of Us
about
yet?
this topic first.
Oh, my bad,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
bad, my
yeah,
bad.
yeah. We skip them for The Last of
Um,
Us.
Sorry, bro.
Thank you, Chris.
I got you.
That's all
I
good,
got
bro.
you, Pippin.
Nah, man. All right, my thoughts. Sony's trying to get a nominee for the Game Award, Game of the Year next year, because that's what the VGAs are doing right now. Um, there's a few people that have done it right. For example, that Master Chief Collection that you talked about, right? Nobody was complaining about a remaster there. You got a whole collection, all those games in one, you know? And I think they did it right. It had a shaky launch. A lot of it didn't work at launch, but they stuck with it and it was phenomenal towards the end, you know? After a short while, or a short waiting period, I should say. Mass Effect Legendary Edition right here, you know? All three games in one.
Right.
Hell yeah.
But once
I
again,
just
that's
started.
Microsoft, and that
Well,
we be able to play it on our backwards compatibility on the Microsoft on the Xbox, right?
well, yeah, that's another thing. Game preservation, backwards compatibility. Sony's not the forefront over there. Like they're not doing anything or much with that.
Right.
You're gonna remake or remaster a game that came out 2 years ago, right?
Right.
I bought a PlayStation 5 and there's a few I missed. I didn't have PlayStation when Last of Us came out. Um, but this last one just came out 2 years ago. When I bought the PlayStation 5, I bought it for the Spider-Mans, the Ghost of Tsushimas, the Last of Us. I haven't gotten
Right.
to it yet. But when I
Great
bought
game.
Spider-Man, right? Yeah, I had to pay full price and a $10 fee, if I'm not mistaken, for up-res for the PlayStation 5 version or whatever.
Wow. Really?
Same thing with Ghost of Tsushima. I think it's just Sony being greedy at this point.
Mm.
I don't understand why you don't just put both of them in there remastered. Shit, I missed out on The Last of Us. Now, me
Hmm.
saying all this, I'm a fraud because I'm gonna be playing The Last of Us 2 anyway. I missed out, so I got to go back and play them.
Listen, for us, it's a good thing, right? I never played it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
well, and you're in good shape because I'm just gonna end up lending you the PS4 version because that's one of those games where you don't have to pay extra. You just pop it in and it automatically it's the
listen,
PS5.
but
Well, actually now you have the PS5 version, but I'll
right,
tell you, I played that one on the PS. I was playing it on the PS4 Pro when I got the PS5, and I thought it looked incredible on the PS4 Pro. But then when I
mm,
played on the PS5, I was like, oh man, like for a game to be a PS4 game and make you feel like you're in the next generation was a big deal. That game visually was just I would just constantly just stop and look around and be like, damn, bro, this looks incredible. and the mechanics of it, and like there was no finicky stuff where like you grab a bad guy or whatever, and then the hands look like they're in weird places as you're slamming them. No, everything was like connecting. Everything was on point. You know, great game.
You
Yeah.
know what they're gonna
You'll see.
have to
Hopefully, you
do?
guys get to play it
They
sometime soon.
they're gonna have to
Mm.
make a best remake in the video game awards categories.
Yeah, they kind of
Yeah,
did
for
that.
Because at
sure.
this point,
Yeah,
everybody's fucking coming out with
Yes.
remakes,
Resident Evil 4
but
shouldn't be there for Game of the Year, and it is. It should be in the
at
remake category.
all.
No.
But this is what I'm saying. Sony's gonna get an easy nominee next year, whenever this comes out, and I feel like it's just being greedy, man. I don't agree
Yeah.
with a lot of decisions they're making, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna pay for it. I'm gonna be
And this
playing
is
The
gonna
Last of Us 2,
and
seeing what
this
I missed.
and this is gonna take us to your topic, BJ. That Xbox tax.
Oh yeah, it's a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Tax that ass. Let's hear
So
it.
for those that don't know, apparently there's a lot going around with the video game awards. Not nominating Xbox games for a lot of these things. Game of the Year being one of them. They had a release of Starfield. People are upset that it didn't make the Game of the Year nominees. Not that it was gonna win, but just being nominated. I am one of those people because you got something like a Resident Evil 4 remake getting nominated for Game of the Year. That had no business being there. Spider-Man 2, I can see, but as a person that has platinumed that game, I don't feel like it should be up there. There was a few issues with it. I don't think it broke that ground. But with that being said, Xbox seems to be missing out for the last 10 years, right? And a lot of this is coming out on media bias. So, how do you say it? You guys help me out, man.
Like help you out with like favoritism towards one system over another, that kind of thing, or
All right, yeah. Favoritism towards certain people or
well,
excluding somebody because of favoritism towards
look
another
at it this
brand.
way. Mario Wonders came out the end of October, right? Correct?
Mm.
Am I
Yeah.
mistaken?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
the Game of the Years were announced 2 weeks later, right?
Mhm.
So you're gonna tell me the game that's been out for 2 weeks, it's already Game of the Year? You know that's not fair. That's something that should be a
I mean,
cutoff in between
it's
time
an.
of like, you know, there should be a cutoff. Like if your games didn't release by say August, September of the year, then it shouldn't be nominated for Game of the Year when the awards are being nominated in November. Correct.
I think you have something there, but it's like a weird, unfortunate thing. Like games that came out in the beginning of the year, sometimes people forget about them. You know, like Hogwarts Legacy wasn't nominated for a
Right.
single thing, and I know that there is the whole issues with who came up with that world and all that stuff, but the game did extremely well,
Right.
extremely
It was
well
awesome.
across
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
board. Sold like crazy. It was very detached from the issues of the past, not to get into all the political crap, but it was its own thing. It was
Right.
extremely successful, but it wasn't nominated for anything. Did people forget about it because it was at the beginning of the year? Was it shunned for some other
No,
reason? I
because
No.
don't know,
Hi-Fi
man.
Rush ended up being nominated for a few things
And
Yeah,
they
but
came out
not
towards the
the
beginning of the year, right?
around the same time.
and that was one of those games they were saying that it would be probably nominated for Game of the Year, and it was snubbed, right? And that came out, I think. Oh man, I think it came out in like June or July of this year. I think the Hi-Fi Rush came out. I'm not sure exactly, but I know it was like either the middle of the year or the end of the first quarter of the year. The game came
And,
out.
and what kind of game is Hi-Fi Rush?
Hi-Fi Rush is kind of like a rhythm matching kind of game.
That might be part of the reason why, because usually these game of the years are like usually the story-based, full open world. Not that it should be, I think, it should be I don't know. There should be different categories, in my opinion. I think we all agree on that. But I think that for the game of the year, they're looking for huge, explosive, engaging stuff. And I didn't play that game, so I can't really speak on it. But maybe they're looking at it a different way, whether that's right or wrong. You know, just playing devil's
Well,
advocate.
game of the year is locked to certain genres, which it shouldn't be like that.
It should be open to
Because
every genre.
say Forza broke ground and it was like the best thing since sliced bread, you know?
Right? Yeah.
And
So
there's no way that a racing game would be up for game of the year. One thing is that it's locked to certain genres.
right.
Sony is like the forefront of that. The Last of Us style game, that narrative driven first person or third person story mode, I should say. But they're really one player games. They're not multiplayer games, you know? When did we see a Fortnite, who's like the number one game in the world, go up for game of the year? You know, there's something there that's not clicking right. No matter how much people like it or people don't like it, certain games get caught to that. But on the Xbox side, the Xbox tax, I see a lot of people saying that there's no such thing, that's crazy. Destin Legary, who I love, and is one of the few people that I follow in IGN, says that there's no Xbox tax, that's a crazy thought, that there's hundreds of media people just sitting there bashing Xbox and waiting for a chance to stiff arm them from any clout. But I had to disagree, because inside IGN there's media people that are biased, and you don't have to look very far, you know? The whole Xbox thing this year, yeah, I think they got snubbed. I think they had a couple games. There's a couple. Well, the VGAs is all messed up right now. But for example, let's go to best community support, right? That category has Baldur's Gate 3, who just came out like what, August, late August, right before Starfield. Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, I should say, Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky, right?
Right.
I don't know much about Final Fantasy 14. That's Jay's territory. But No Man's Sky definitely deserves to be there. But tell me how Destiny 2 is Bungie. Bungie has horrible community service. They have not been listening to community for years, right? That's why I left when Destiny 2 came out, shortly thereafter. Baldur's Gate 3 just came out in August. Tell me what type of support has that thing been given? You know what I'm saying? In the 2 months that we're at now. Versus Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite, remember, it started like incomplete. It was very well received when it came out, but it was incomplete. They've been doing non-stop servicing to that game. Season after season is getting better and better, and season 5 right now is popping. It's the best thing that Halo Infinite has come out with since. And it's not up there. That's another Xbox studio that got snipped. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, to me, I feel like it's just the world that we live in right now, and you can see it in politics. You can see it in the MCU. When DCU came out, everybody was shitting on Superman, the Man of Steel. I thought it was brilliant. Very well made. I felt like the quality was up there, the story was up there, the acting was up there. But no, it was just like the cool thing to hate on because of the fanboys went wild. And then I feel like Hollywood and media are one in itself. So like, you guys know how political Hollywood is. I think the media just follows. Maybe they're bought by, I don't know. It's just a feeling that I got. I mean, it's everywhere. You don't have to look very far to see, but I just feel like the world we live in now is just weird. You don't have to hate one thing to love something else.
Right.
And it's the same with racism. If racist people are missing out on so much good that each culture has to offer. You know what I'm saying? Each
Right.
race has to offer hundreds of great qualities, cool things, foods. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Don't participate in anything. But you don't have to shit on it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
don't
saying?
knock it. Right. Don't knock it. Right.
This is everybody needs to do better, man. I feel like this year was very, how you say it? We saw a lot of bias this year. And just alone in the
Nominations for
what
the Game
was
of the
it,
Year
that
award.
Activision Blizzard King
Oh, yeah.
FTC court case. I feel like that whole thing was based off bias.
Right.
They had no argument on one side, and the argument that they did have, they said nothing for. I feel like they were protecting Sony's best interest, not the consumer.
Right.
And it's hard for me to believe that there's no Xbox tax when all I see is people shitting on this side when there's so
Bias.
much
Yeah.
great stuff to offer. And then somebody like Sony, who's been doing so much anti-consumer moves, so many anti-consumer moves, is like being praised all the time when something comes out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Right.
It just, I don't know. I think
It
that the
sucks.
media bias is real, 100% real. I think the Xbox tax is real to a certain extent. Yes. Do I believe that they should have had any game of the year in the last 10 years? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I feel like they should get a lot more love than they receive.
I mean, if they gave Resident Evil 4 Game of the Year when Gears of War got remastered for Xbox last year, a couple years back. I don't know if you remember, Gears of War 1 got did like a Gears of War Ultimate game.
Yeah.
They remastered it, and that was amazing. They went from the 4-on-4 to the 5-on-5, which is a great addition to the game. And I played it for months when it came out again, and believe I was one of the people that played it when it was out for Xbox 360. So when they released it for Xbox One, I picked it up and played it again, and I loved it. And I don't remember it ever getting nominated for any awards, unless I'm mistaken. Right?
No,
Yeah, I mean there's definitely the fine. I mean, it's not a fine line. It's a chasm between a remaster and a remake. If you just touch it up a little bit, boost up the graphics, do the frame rate and everything like that, that's a small team of people that are just like bringing it into the new generation. But when you choose to remaster it, it's like your Final Fantasy sevens. Like you could, I'm sorry, remake it. If you remaster Final Fantasy 7, okay, it'll look a little bit better. Maybe you fix little things or whatever. But remaking it is breaking it down from the ground up, and the only thing you do have is the story. And a lot of times they'll make changes. Final Fantasy 7 is an exception to the rule. They are doing everything right so far, and we're obviously excited to see the next one. But I don't know, the part that I think of is, do I think that remakes should be nominated for Game of the Year? No, this should be its
No.
own thing, remake
Yeah.
of the year. But at the same time, would I want to walk into Capcom and say, "Hey, take me to the room with all the devs and everybody working on Resident Evil 4 remake," and go in there and look at those 100 people and be like, "Nah, man, nice work, but it's just a remake. You didn't make a good game. You didn't do anything." Like, no, they did. They spent hundreds
Right.
of
I mean,
hours. They put in a lot of work, and it was a passion project, and they're giving people something that they want. But yeah, I mean, still, I definitely get that. And you know what? When it comes to the bias and the media and everything, I would be shocked if there was any media outlet that didn't have bias. I mean, we all have to acknowledge we all have bias built into us, and
right.
you can't make it disappear. You can't blind it. The best thing that you could do is acknowledge it and just look at everything with an open mind. And I think IGN has a hugely bad reputation for having bad takes, man. And I don't know, one minute they're pointing the sword at Nintendo, one minute it's Xbox. But if you told me that some people in IGN are purposely going after Xbox, I'd believe it. You wouldn't have to try too hard to convince me. Now, if you say everybody, yeah, it's a little harder. But I mean, it's not a far stretch to think, okay, in the past few years, Xbox hasn't had a lot going on. And, maybe they've kind of built up this little like, oh, that's just Xbox. They don't have anything. But, is that cool? No. I mean, we need that competition no matter what. If we don't have that competition, then Sony starts doing what they're doing right now, dropping the ball left and right because they're used to riding high. They're used to being able to do whatever they want, like if they're Nintendo. But there's only one Nintendo, and they
Do
do
you
whatever the
see?
hell they want.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes,
You
they
see,
do.
Those fuckers do
so,
whatever they want.
Sony's getting sued because, in the consumer's eyes, they've been taken advantage of. Right?
Right.
I
I
think
just
there's
heard
like
about
a
Yeah,
that.
$7 billion lawsuit right now because of the
but
moves
read
that
more into
Sony's
that.
made.
Read more into
I'm
that.
just
That's
saying,
that's clickbait.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
they are getting sued though, right?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. They're
uh,
getting sued, but it's people are taking advantage of that and putting it at the forefront and taking advantage of people who just read the headlines and say, "Oh, look at that." But if
well,
if you take
all I'm
a minute
saying is
to,
that Sony's
uh,
paying off the right people because let's go back last year, right? I don't think there was much last year,
hmm,
but they had some cat game that got nominated for Game of the Year. And right
Oh,
now,
the one with the
we're
little laser
missing
yeah,
thing on his
out
head?
on
yeah,
Starfield, dude. Starfield is an amazing fucking game. Amazing. I play that
the
shit.
cat game.
I just got
Yeah,
back
that's
into it after we finished Sea of Stars, right? And it's just like so many surprises for what Bethesda does. And I've been ignorant to Bethesda games before. Like, I have never beat a Bethesda game. I start them and then stop way back in the day.
mm-hmm.
But I've been missing out. Like, they have been
Yeah,
making some amazing games. And from the consensus that I'm getting on all these reviews, it's one of the best storylines that Bethesda has ever put in a game. And that's not nominated this year, right? And I get there
Right.
was so many good games out this year. So many, but Resident Evil 4 made it?
Yeah.
The cat game made it last year?
What's the
The
Stray? Name of
cat
the cat.
game, bro.
The name of the game is Stray, right? Stray. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, whatever it
hey,
is, man.
Yeah.
listen,
That's
in all defense, Phil Spencer was at the Game Awards last year, just sitting there, bro.
He'll be
There
there
was
again this
nothing.
year. He'll be there
Yeah,
again this year.
but last year they had zero. They had
look at this,
nothing.
man.
He
You
had to
mean to
show up.
tell me that Hogwarts Legacy is not a family game, right?
Right. It should be a
It's
list
not a
nominated for
good
family
action
game.
game.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think
an
it's awesome.
action adventure game.
It
You
should be
know,
there.
the best game direction, like that thing was critically acclaimed, despite
Right.
all of the
The bugs in
nonsense
it.
that was going on with the politics.
Right. Oh
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? People like, I mean, companies like IGN, they have so many employees that you can see the diversity. A lot more people are going to be like, oh, I'm a Nintendo guy, I'm a Sony guy. But your job as media is to
Be
be
non-biased.
as non-biased as you can, right?
Yeah.
There's
Right.
people like Ryan McCaffrey that would sit there and criticize Xbox, even though he's an Xbox fan, right? And he would
Mm-hmm.
put it out there. Look, I'm a little biased towards Diablo 4. I feel like that should have been in the Game Awards. He just said it on the last Unlocked podcast that
That was a big deal
Game of
with
the Year,
Diablo.
Diablo
Yeah.
4 was humongous. You know what I'm saying? And that
Yeah.
didn't go. Why? Maybe Xbox tax ABK, even though they
Yeah.
had nothing to do with making the game. You know what I'm saying? But
They
now
got
they're
gypped.
associated together. Where
Listen.
is Diablo 4 in this whole game nomination?
They
Bottom line
nominated for
is-
one thing.
I feel like it's true.
I think bottom line is that Game of the Year category should be for games that only been released that year. Like, well, not that year, but like within a certain amount of time. They would say from between January to, let's say, September, or like say from September or August of 2022 to September and August of 2023, right? Give it a time frame, correct? It should not have remakes. It should be all original games, all brand new games that
I
or
agree. Focus on
sequels.
the new
For
stuff.
example, like Ocarina of Time that's nominated for Game of the Year too. That's what it is. Oh, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm sorry, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm talking out of my butt.
I
Tears
was
of the
about to
Kingdom.
say
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time.
No, I'm sorry. I meant to say Tears of the Kingdom.
The remake.
The remake, and it probably would be nominated. I bet you. And it probably nominated if it was a
I'd
remake.
vote for it.
Yeah. But
God
Tears of the
tier game,
Kingdom,
bro.
it's a sequel to the last game. Or no? Am I wrong?
Yeah, it is.
All right. So yeah, that's a sequel. It's a brand new game, nominated for the game. I understand that, but it was released before a certain amount of time. Now you have Mario Wonders, which it might be a great game. I'll see in a few weeks how good it is. It should not be there within a 2-week time frame of being released. It was released in October. The Game of the Year awards came out in November, within 2 weeks of being released, I think. And now it's up for Game of the Year. And then you snub out, like you said, Diablo 4, and you snub Starfield, Hi-Fi Rush. Come on, man.
Well, listen, I don't have a problem with that. I see what you're saying, but
Yeah.
there has to be a better time frame management thing going on. But at the
There
end
has
of
to
the
be a
day,
cutoff.
it's games that came out in 2023, right? They don't have like, hey, we're doing from last October to this October. So
Fiscal year.
there has to be
There's a-
something better going on. If they're gonna do it, they do it in December. I agree with that. Do it towards the end and let everything that came out in 2023 have a fair chance at play.
I think there should be a cutoff.
Yeah,
To make it fair, there should be a cutoff.
maybe
there's no
should,
way that two
because
Nintendo
maybe
games.
recency bias might be a big thing.
Yeah, no two consoles should have two games up for Game of the Year award. I'm sorry, that's not fair.
Nah,
And I will say the same thing for Xbox. If Xbox had two Game for the Year award nominations, I would say no, that's not right.
Nah, because if you make great games, and you might have 3 games that year that Nintendo made that are phenomenal, all 3 of those games should be up there. Now, what should have
I
been,
don't think so.
in my opinion, is that 2023 is possibly the best video game year for video games ever, right? You can make an argument. There should have been, instead of 6, there should have been 10.
10 category.
Right?
Okay, that makes sense.
100%.
You
Make it fair.
adjust to the year that came out.
Such an easy solution.
I know,
Just to make it
such
fair,
an
yeah,
easy
100%.
solution. Everybody gets a fair play. And you know
Right.
what? Whoever votes, I'm not really sure how that works. Is it the media? Is it us? They have options for us to vote on there. I don't believe that we vote on there. But I don't know, man. There's a lot of things that need to be worked out now. And
Yeah.
I feel like with something like the VGAs, I feel like it's all paid programming now, paid content. They don't really go. It's so disrespectful that they just skip, like, they put the categories on there, the nominees for some category. Oh, this person won, move on. They don't let like them come up stage like the Grammys or the ESPYs. They just like move on to the next and show a game trailer. And then for the bigger titles, they'll have somebody come on stage and walk up and receive their award. I feel like they made it like a whole function. Like E3 is not going to be E3 anymore. The VGAs is going to be like the new thing.
That's a shame.
I mean, the DICE Awards is a lot more accurate in my opinion. And the golden joystick, those are like real awards that don't have much of that. I don't know. It doesn't feel politically motivated.
You know what they should do? I think this is what they should do. And just so the Game of the Year's games are included from the year, like what the Oscar does, right? The Oscar comes out in February, but there's a cutoff time. So although, say, 2024, the Oscars come out in February, and then they nominate all the movies that came out in 2023 for that, for that award, for the Oscar for 2024. That's what they should do with the VGA, Video Game Awards. They should have it in January, February. So then you have all those games that came out from January of 2023 to January, to December 2023, included in that award ceremony kind of thing. Instead of putting a game that just came out 2 weeks ago in November and then giving the award in December. Nah.
I see what you're
more time to
saying,
play
man,
it.
but
Like, I haven't played it yet, so I don't know how good Mario Wonders is. I haven't tried it yet. So how can I vote for that game if I haven't seen it? If I haven't tried it, I've heard great things about it. Don't get me wrong, but I want to give it a non-biased opinion, right?
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they just have to figure something out, man.
Yeah.
Because there's games that come out late that don't make it one year, and then there's games that come out late that make it, like
Right.
in multiple categories that aren't
Mario
even half
Wonders.
as good as the one last year.
Right.
You know, it's like they pick and choose what suits them. I don't
Right.
know how it
And-
works, man.
And
Just
even
saying, the
Alan
whole
Wake,
thing looks fishy.
and even Alan Wake, which came out I think in October as well. That if it was a ceremony that's going to be held in February or March of the next year, yeah, they put it in for Game of the Year. It might be a great game, but I think that no game that comes out within a month before the announcements of an award ceremony should be nominated. That's right. That's what I believe. I mean, get mad at me if I'm wrong, but it is what it is.
Well, concluding the second topic with 45 minutes on the clock so far.
Hold on, yo. Because wasn't Baldur's Gate like in beta for such a long time?
Yeah, but the game has been, I think it was released on PC already earlier today, right?
So that's like saying that PUBG, who was like the first ones to do the whole Warzone type of thing, right? Battle Royale. They were in beta for years. For years, beta after beta. And Call of Duty ended up surpassing, like doing it better than what they were doing.
Right.
Say they were in beta since, let's see, 2019. It's 2023 now. They release a game in 2023, the full game, and now, hey, Game of the Year. You guys think that that's fair?
But that's what that cutoff time they should be. Like Baldur's Gate was in beta for a while, and then it was released in August of this year, right? So now you figure in the awards nominations came out in November. It gave people September, October, November, three months to actually play the game and respond to it at its full the full version of the game.
I think what you're thinking is then the video game should be hosted in like March of the following year.
Right.
And
that's
that
what
way
I'm saying.
they can. Yeah.
That way people get a chance to actually play all these games before they get to that, to that nomination and to that ceremony, right? Announce them in February, to the thing in March for the year pass. And then so on and so forth. Yeah. I mean, I think the fair way to do it. I mean, then you really could say, oh yeah, Alan Wake's better than Baldur's Gate, or Baldur's Gate's better than Spider-Man. Give people a chance to play it. Because remember, a lot of these games are also sold during the holidays. So like players that, like say kids get to play it in the holiday season because that's what they get for Christmas, especially like for example, Benny's going to get Mario Wonders for his birthday coming up. But he's never played it. So for someone who's never played that game, because I don't want him to hear me. But for someone who's never played it and had a chance to actually play it and review the game, how can I vote for that game? I mean, I wouldn't. Now,
well, it would
Legend
be
of Zelda
irresponsible to vote for a game that you haven't played.
Just never played, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, not only that, but keep it a fair playing field, man. I mean, don't nominate 3-4 games, 2 games for one system. I mean, give all the systems their due. I mean, let's see what they put out that year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, but imagine if Capcom has a game already up there, and then they're like, "Hey, other part of Capcom, I know you guys were working really hard on Street Fighter 6, and it's such a good game.
Yeah,
but you got to understand we can only have one this year, so you get snuffed."
You pick best of the best of that year, right? Or they should have best of the best game of the year genre category. They have a genre category.
That's what I'm saying. If they got best of the year, right? Best of the year,
right?
You're saying best of the year, but what if Nintendo came out with 2 games that were the best of the year over the other ones?
then expand the pool. Instead of making it 6 games, make it 10 games.
Yeah.
Do it depending on what that year, how many great games came
So
out, and
you're
how many
saying
games are worthy.
best Nintendo game up there, best Sony game up there, best
Right.
Xbox game up there, and have them all compete? But what if like a third party or a second party
No, yeah, of course.
studio?
Of course. Then you have Capcom who has their games. You have, let's say, Konami, right? Just for argument's sake, they puts out a great game, and some of them they put out a great game for more than one console, which is great. They're not exclusive, but
Um,
I think that all games should get their fair play, especially if they had a great review, a great response from players like Starfield. I loved it. I love it. I got to get back on it. But right now Modern Warfare 3 came out, so I've been playing that like crazy. And Gran Turismo came out. Sorry, not Gran Turismo. Forza came out, and I've been playing that as well. So I got to get back on Starfield again because I
so
really did
many
like the
good
game.
twists and turns and exciting
Right.
stuff to come up, and I just feel like it got snubbed for sure. But
Now
with
with
that being
Baldur's Gate,
said, Diablo 4 got snubbed too.
right? And it had a great
A bunch
response
of
from
stuff.
players.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But
And like I said,
the reality is, like, say you make a card game and the card game is phenomenal, it'll never get nominated. It shouldn't be
right?
like that.
No,
They
it
should do
should.
better. And I don't know
Right.
what the criteria is for coming up with these categories or nominees, but anyway,
No, no,
Jay,
I'm
I'm
excited for
sorry,
Baldur's
man.
Gate 3. I'm excited for Baldur's Gate 3. So when it comes out, I'm gonna give it a try. Because it's nominated for Game of the Year, right? So just to give my non-biased opinion, I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna play it and
Oh,
give it put some time into it, so I could give it an honest opinion.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm just
Anyways,
Well,
waiting
if
for it to
I
come out
rambled.
on Xbox for sure.
Yeah.
if you're waiting for my vote, I have a long backlog, so they're gonna have to either do this year's nominations next year, or maybe we could do an audit and I could submit my vote later, and then they could change the last game of the year because the backlog is real. So,
You know
anyways,
what? We can do our own award show. How about that?
we should, man.
We get all dressed up in
Hell
tuxedo
yeah.
t-shirts. Get some
Tuxedos from the waist up
tuxedo t-shirts.
and tuxedo t-shirts. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, sir. Yeah.
I
That'd be
like it.
great.
We should
Yeah.
do.
Make a little origami trophies, VGC or
I
VCG.
come out my bright green Xbox tux.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, look
I
at
wonder what he's
that.
gonna vote for. The
Game
one
of the
Xbox game
year.
that gets to be on there, whether it's good or not.
We're not
Yeah.
biased over
No, I'm
here.
not biased. Not
Not
biased,
biased at
sir.
all.
I'm just wearing a
Don't
green
look at
tux,
my
sir.
mic.
No, I'm no bias.
Yeah,
Or my headphones for that matter.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
man.
But
There's
let's
so
see.
much to
Come
love in this
Christmas.
world, so
Come
we'll see.
Christmas. Let's see. The PS5 coming my way, hopefully.
Yeah, man.
Let's see. One way or
You
the
got
other,
some
I'm
good
getting it.
bangers to jump on. You got
Last
some
of
good
Us
bangers
2.
to jump on.
Last of Us
Yeah,
2
buddy.
remake. I'm excited.
Yeah, bro. That's right. That's right.
All
So
right.
moving right along, man. Believe it or not, we do have other things to talk about, and believe it or not, this is not the award show episode,
No.
but the PlayStation Portal. So for those who don't know, PlayStation put out a device and kind of left everybody confused. Like, what the hell is this thing? It literally looks like a tablet with a PS5 controller cut in half and then stuck onto the side of the tablet. So, but despite the weirdness, despite all the trash that everybody was talking, including PlayStation fans, like, who asked for this shit? It sold out. It sold out. And yeah, there are some scalpers, but it sold out. So it's there are people that have it in their hands and they're using it. And I think there was some confusion as to what is this thing, right? Because it's not a PSP, it's not a PS Vita, it's not a system that can run the games on it like the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally. It's not that at all. What this thing does is it connects through Wi-Fi to your console so that you could play these games that cannot run on a handheld system on your on this device, basically. And I guess the ideal use for it is, like, some of us have that one main TV, and if somebody's using the TV, you wouldn't be able to play your games, right? This is a way that you can kind of tether to your PlayStation 5 and still play those games. Now, an example of it is my brother picked it up and he's telling me that what he does is he'll be watching football. He really wants to watch it on his nice big TV and everything, but he wants to play games, in between as well. So he sits there on the couch playing, whatever high-end game on the handheld while also being able to watch TV. But what Sony didn't tell people in the beginning, maybe they were doubtful of how it would work out, or maybe they wanted to be a nice little surprise. I don't know. But you can play this thing anywhere. It was always understood that you'd have to be at home on the same Wi-Fi as your PlayStation. But it turns out that that is not the case. You can, through the app or through that device, turn your PlayStation on and off from the standby mode, which a lot of us leave it on standby. And then you can be somewhere totally different as long as you've got good internet and you could be playing your games, catching up on your backlog, and playing these games on a handheld that's $200 when you would normally need probably like $1,000 handheld to play these games the same way. So I thought it was pretty interesting because it was a weird turn of events. It was very much something that we thought it was going to be one thing, but it turns out to be something else, and it has been successful. I genuinely wonder how many of those purchases were parents buying it for their kids for the holidays or whatever, not knowing what the hell it
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
But
They're
hey,
gonna
you
be
know what?
shocked.
Being non-biased, you have to acknowledge the negative things about your side, okay?
No, yeah, no,
So I'm telling you right
no,
now that
no,
most likely there's gonna be some sales of that,
no. I'm
you
excited
know?
for it because I think it's a cool little device. Especially, say my kids take over my TV all the time, so I can't game because they're on my TV. So I can pull it aside and play.
Yeah,
So
man.
what I think is going to be cool about it if you're able to play when PlayStation's version of Game Pass comes out. You know what I mean?
I could
That's
almost 100% assure you that it's gonna
that's
be
good.
like, how could you not put it on there, you know?
Right, right. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a great thing
yeah,
for them, and that's going to drive up sales even more for them. Because
yeah,
you
man.
know,
And you're hearing it here first. I suspect that it's coming out sooner than we think. For
yeah,
sure, 2024. Yeah, because there's been
first
little
quarter,
rumors, little hints.
first quarter,
I
second
doubt
quarter.
first quarter, maybe second. But there's all these little rumors coming around, and if you hear one thing, okay, you're starting to hear these things from everybody. There's something there, and they'd be stupid not to do it. But basically, it seems like Sony's making their own version of a Game Pass, or at least make your PlayStation Plus games, the games that you already have, be able to play them on your phone or on a handheld like the one that they just created.
Mhm.
So it's pretty interesting. And then now another thing came up when it comes to this handheld because, in the emulation, modding, and hacking community, there are people who are looking at this thing like, all right, what can I do with this? What's this thing capable of?
Mm,
So it turns out that, it's $200 and it's $200 for a reason. It's made, I don't want to say cheaply, but it's not meant to be opened and closed multiple times. You have to take off the screen to be able to access the insides. But anyways, if you hack that thing, the chipset that it has a capability of emulating anything up until PS1 and 64, maybe some Dreamcast games. So
mm.
theoretically, if people say, "Hey, let's see if we can hack this thing," and I'm sure somebody's gonna hack it because if it powers on, it gets hacked. And yeah, it, you could use it for that also if you wanted to. But
That or
yeah,
when
pretty interesting device. Mhm.
PlayStation releases their Game Pass equivalent, that's going to be amazing. I think that's going to draw up sales for everybody for that system, especially if you could take it on the go and you have a good Wi-Fi setting somewhere else, and you can just tether off your home console. That's going to be amazing. That's going to be great. I think that's one of the biggest point. I think that's why they did it now, because that's coming. Like you said, it's coming out soon, and I think sooner than later that Game Pass style for PlayStation 5 will come out. I think.
Yeah, man.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Maybe I'd throw up $200 and buy one myself when I get my PlayStation 5.
Yeah, man. You could play
Yeah.
it out in the gazebo while watching sports and drinking a
Yeah.
beer.
Yes, sir. Oh, what the kids
Yeah, man.
on my big old TV, because that's where my Xbox hooked up.
That's right.
But that's what I do with Game Pass, man. I bring my little phone out with my little Kishi, whatever, Rishi, I forgot what I always forget the name of that damn sim thing. The Kishi or Rishi, whatever it's called.
Takashi,
Razer
Takashi,
Kishi.
No,
Takashi
man.
69.
Huh? No, not Takashi 69. Get out of here. It's called a Kishi or Rishi. I can't remember
The
what the name of that damn thing.
Razer Kishi.
Razor, yeah, Kishi. That's it. That thing's amazing, bro. I hooked that up to my phone, and I could play Game Pass out of my backyard, and
Well, I
enjoy
got
it.
one too. I've been doing
Yeah,
the remote play on Xbox for a while now,
yeah.
and I feel like, what I understood is when they were announcing the portal that it's just gonna be a device for remote play. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
so I
Yeah,
think it's
you're
pretty
not going to be
dope.
running any games off it. That's for sure.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
It's going to be
it's
remote.
just remote play, and um, you could have done that. We were doing that with PlayStation a long time ago already.
Really.
I had the Asus ROG phone, uh, and with Game Pass or my Xbox, I was at work playing my remote play. So it's been like that for a while. I think that this device is pretty dope. I'm a sucker for handhelds though,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I don't really have a use for it. So if
Yeah,
you
you got
guys
me
Xbox
like
now.
it,
neither.
I feel like
Yeah.
you like it. You like it. Go for it, man.
Yeah.
But scalpers are ruining the world.
Right. But you guys
Oh,
have a
yeah.
beast of a console, anyways. To begin with, you have that Rogue Ally, which is amazing. So that thing
Hell
does
The
everything
yeah.
on it.
the
That thing does
ROG
everything on the go.
Ally can
Yeah.
do remote play right now.
Yeah.
You know?
That thing's
Yeah.
amazing.
There's actually
Yeah.
a program where you can stream your PS5 onto the ROG Ally and Steam Deck, I'm assuming also.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So
It's not for me, but it's cool. It's cool to have it, and it's clearly, my brother jumped on it right away, and I was like, "Do you know what that thing is?" And he knew exactly what it was, and he was like,
Right.
"Yeah, this is perfect." So I could watch football
Nice.
and play my games. So
Right.
but this is
Awesome.
another
Yeah.
instance of why I don't know why the PlayStation Portal is getting so much hate. You know,
Bias opinions
there's some
again.
it's
people.
because it says
Oh,
PlayStation on it.
it's useless. Yeah, it may be a money grab. PlayStation
Hey.
sells everything.
Bro,
They're
the
coming out
console
with a
wars.
or a slim console already that looks like trash. I bet you that's gonna sell. More power to them, man.
Hey,
Yeah,
If you don't
which
like
console
it,
didn't get
don't
snubbed from the
buy
Game
it.
of the Year awards?
Nintendo. So yeah,
Yeah.
man. No, but it's
I think it's
a
dope.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's
I
gonna be
think
cool,
it's
cool.
man.
dope.
Listen,
I think it has
the
great
more things
potential.
you get to mess with,
Hell
yeah,
yeah, the more it's gonna be
If
fun.
I had money to just throw around, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
But I
play
gotta say, man,
Ghost of
console
Tsushima
wars.
in the bed.
Yeah, bro. The console wars are in full effect. Like, bro, everything's been dead for years. This whole console
Right.
war things, that people fighting and everything. But man, you go on Twitter and it's either GTA news or people at each other's throats about this or
Oh
that.
Jesus, I know.
The Portal could be the best thing ever, and 50% of people will shit on it. And Starfield could be the best game of all time, and 50% of the people will
Yeah.
shit on it because these fuckers just attack each other, man. Like,
Right.
play your games, man. Leave people alone. Let people do what the hell they want.
But that's why in this
People are
podcast we're
ridiculous.
non-biased, right?
Yeah.
I
We're
mean,
non-biased.
Yeah.
I'm not biased.
No,
I don't know
I'm
about you.
not.
Oh yeah.
No, I love every
Nah,
game
I'll
console,
tell you
man.
guys straight up. I am biased. Where my heart lies is not where your heart might lie, but at the end of the time,
Well,
at
it's
the
your
end of the
preferred
day,
console.
I try to be non-biased when I'm evaluating certain things,
Right.
and I try to
Right.
give
That's what's
everybody a
important.
fair shake. At the end of the
We have
day,
our
I
favorite
think
consoles.
everybody's biased.
Right.
It's just
Yeah. And no, sure.
when you're in certain positions, you have a responsibility to be as fair as you can, and
Right.
some of this just blatantly shows, man.
Especially if you're in a position that you influence players, right? You should have a non-biased opinion. You shouldn't be bought by one system or the other. You should try every system that's out there and give it all an equal amount, like an equal opportunity kind of case. You know what I mean? Like give it all a fair try, and and critique them for what they are. If they're effing up, then you critique them for that. If they're doing a great job, you give them props. Don't just be a fanboy and stick to one side or the other. Now, I'm not a fanboy, but I do prefer Xbox. Xbox has been my console for the past since Xbox 360. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had a PS3. I have a PS4. I have a Nintendo Switch. I have a Nintendo Wii. I skipped the U because I didn't have any need for it. but I've given all of those consoles a fair try, and they all have something to give. Like PlayStation 3, Last of Us, man, what an amazing game. Xbox 360, Gears of War, Halo, right? Xbox One, it had some good games, but they kind of
Rise,
dropped
Son
the
of
ball.
Rome. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a good game. Yeah, but I think Xbox went wrong when they tried to do that whole all-in-one, entertainment system, and
No,
then
they were just ahead of their time, man. I'm gonna have
yeah,
to stop you
wait.
right there. Look at what's happening right now with the Last of Us TV show. And they were
Oh
talking
yeah,
about integrating a Halo TV show into that, a Gears of War TV show into that.
yeah, but
It was all gonna be. And now, look at the movies. Super Mario Bros. They're
yeah.
all popping. Sonic.
No, but
Like they
but the
were
Halo
just ahead
game
of their
wasn't
time, and the messaging wasn't quite there.
right.
Everybody did an outrage. But
But the
I
Halo
think
series is
that
nowhere near as good
if
as
they
Last of
would have
Us.
stuck to their guns, right? If you believe in something
Right.
and you're gonna kill it before it even gets started because some fanboys were roasting you on Twitter, that's where they went wrong. They
Right.
would have been ahead of the game right now. They wouldn't have made such a shit Halo show on Paramount. Probably would have been 10 times better than what they put out. And they would have been all type of
Hey,
thing. We probably would have had a
listen.
Tomb Raider game show right now. Like they just went wrong. You
And you
believe in
hear it.
something, stick to your guns and do it, man. Stop listening
And you
to
heard it here.
everybody hate.
Twisted Metal was an awesome show, bro. I love Twisted Metal.
I
That show
had
was
fun with
awesome.
it.
Yeah,
It was
I
not
loved
what I
it.
thought it. It was not what I thought it should be. I thought it should have been a lot more dark, a lot more
Serious tone,
gritty, and
yeah.
everything. It took itself like a joke, but you know
It's
what?
kind of what the game is. The
It's
game is kind of
it.
like that.
Yeah, and I
Instead
hope
of
The
that they
game was
made.
like scary to me, bro.
Yeah,
really,
it was to me too. I
yo,
mean,
that cloud.
in Twisted Metal Black, they played the intro was um, the shoot. I see a red door and I want to paint it black. Like it was
Oh
very
yeah,
dark.
Painted Black by Rolling Stones. Yeah.
Thank you. And it was gritty and it was dark and the stories
Yeah.
of how you would get into it were
Yeah.
it was a did I have fun with it? Yeah, man. I watched it to the end. I enjoyed it. It was gory, which was good because you rarely see funny and gory things together. It was good, but
I loved it, bro. The clown was
so
awesome. I forgot
Well,
what's the name of the clown.
Sweet
What's
Tooth.
the name of the clown?
Sweet
No,
Tooth,
Sweet
man.
Tooth, bro. I love Sweet Tooth. That was great. That was
I
awesome.
But
think
you
they
see
did pretty good
your
with him.
reaction right now, dude. But you're
Yeah.
gonna say that Xbox did wrong with Xbox One's vision? Like
I
this
think
would have been their vision, dude.
it could have been, but
They could have
like you
had
said,
a Fable series on there, man. The sky's the limit.
I'm excited for Fable. Really excited for Fable.
So it was on top of my mind for a couple days now. What's your most anticipated game that's on your backlog?
Wolverine.
Oh, easy for me.
No, it's on your backlog.
What
On
do
your
you mean?
backlog, something that already came out. Easy
My
for me.
backlog.
Let me know when you're ready.
What? Go ahead. I'll
What
let
you
you. I
look
don't
for
hear what
back
you say. I'm looking at my backlog.
there? Shit.
This guy.
I
So-
shit myself.
So back on the PS1, and I don't know how the hell they made this game on the PS1, but we all grew up playing the Mega Mans. Well, on the PS1, they came out with Mega Man Legends, and it is a 3D open world Mega Man game. And I don't know how they did that on a PS1. Capcom killed it. It was an incredible freaking game. So I played it, I beat it. It's a funny, cutesy little kind of story, whatever. Very like anime style and everything. And I ended up beating it when I was a kid. So maybe like a year ago or so, I bought a little handheld. I can't remember what it is right now, but I bought a nice little handheld that emulates a bunch of games, whatever. And I played the first one again, and man, I freaking loved it, dude. I loved it, and then I come to find out they made a part 2. So I started playing the second one, and I already could tell right off the bat that they fixed up the controls in that game. So which was great because in the first one it was a little bit rough. And that game still came out on the PS1. So they built on the first one, still on the PS1. Bro, PS1 was my favorite console. I don't care. I'll throw aside
Yeah.
these 4K graphics and all that. PS1 was just too damn good. It was just it's no wonder PlayStation is where it is now because they fucking blew it out of the water. Anyways, yeah, Mega Man Legends 2 is the one that I'm super excited
So
for. Oh, but you sometimes drop that, Chris. You sometimes mention Xenogears, and whenever you say that,
yeah,
sometimes I feel like chucking all these things out the window and just going to play that shit on the
Xenogears.
PS1.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's
Banger.
cool? I heard today. I was reading today that Sega's releasing Virtual Fighter 3 online. Did you hear about that?
Oh no,
Huh.
Yeah,
that's
Virtual Fighter
awesome.
3. Yeah. This is they were saying November 28th. It's gonna coming out if I'm not mistaken here. But yeah, Virtual Fighter 3 online. I don't think that Virtual Fighters had an online game yet, right?
I don't think so.
I don't
The
think so.
last
No.
one I
So
played was on the Sega Saturn, bro. I
really,
love this. I love the Sega Saturn. We'll have to talk about that on one episode.
yeah.
Love the Sega Saturn.
Yeah. But
So
yeah,
much
Mine was
so
nostalgia
on
for that thing.
Dreamcast.
I'm excited
I
for
haven't
that, man.
played
Virtual
for a
Fighter
while.
3. I used to love that game in the arcade. That little blocky
So
3D dimensional style game they had back in the day. You remember?
One more game for you to whoop me in. One more
Yo,
fighting game
not
for you
me,
to whoop me
Benny.
in.
Benny.
Hell
That's
yeah.
gonna be cool.
So
what's a game
what do
on
you
your backlog you dying to get to, Chris?
Me? I don't know, man. I really didn't think about this much. So I have no idea. You have to probably come back to me later and ask me again what I think. That I have no idea.
Well,
I
I'll
tend
tell you
to.
guys what you should is this right here. Man.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
It's
yeah.
on
correct
there.
answer for you guys if you
Mass
haven't played
Effect 3.
Mass
Yeah,
Effect.
yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah.
I have that on deck ready to go.
Yeah.
I gotta jump on it.
Hey, in that case, put a Gears of War a master release edition. Do
Yeah,
that.
man. For
I want to play that.
well, we're waiting
Mm.
for that Gears of War Marcus Phoenix collection. How about that?
Ooh. When is that coming out? Did they say
That's a
anything about that?
remaster that they should bring out, man.
Yeah.
Updated everything,
What
play the
if okay?
story again.
What
Let's
if that
go.
one comes out for Game of the Year?
I wouldn't vote for it.
No,
It's a
I don't
remake.
agree with it. I don't agree with that.
All
No.
right, you guys pass the
Maybe
test.
the remake, best remake,
Uh,
or
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But
Now,
not
Yeah.
Game of the
Now if
Year.
Gears of War 6 is out for Game of the Year, then this is a different story,
Yeah. By
right?
that time, Capcom will be remaking Resident Evil 7. It came out a couple years ago. So
And he'll be nominated. And he'll be nominated for Game of the Year too, as well.
you better believe it.
Well, how many Final Fantasies, man? I think Square got to get their
Listen,
money
don't
back.
even. You can't even touch my Final Fantasies, man. You know now they're talking about they're gonna remake Final Fantasy 9, and there's some debate about which is the most popular Final Fantasy. I think Final Fantasy 7 is the most popular
7,
one
yeah, for
because
sure.
it brought everything from the pixel into the 3D realm of like, it just felt so much different. And I don't know, bro, and we talk about how long it takes to make games these days. Final Fantasy 7 came out in 97. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 8 came out the next year, and I think Final Fantasy 9 came out the year after that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold up.
Whoa.
Hold up, please.
Yeah. Fact check.
Yeah, let's see this.
Yeah. You know, I've been playing Final Fantasy 6 again, here and there.
So Final Fantasy 8 came out in 99, and
When did 10 come out? 2000 then. Final Fantasy 10 came out in like 2000, 2001,
I
right?
believe so. And then okay, so I skip a year. So Final Fantasy 7 in 97, Final Fantasy 8 in 99, Final Fantasy 9 in 2000. So these incredible games were coming out back to back to back to back. But what was interesting is Final Fantasy 7, yes, it had like the polygon graphics and everything.
Mm.
And we looked at that, we enjoyed the game so much, and then we're like, man, if only it can come out with like people graphics, like realistic looking graphics. Well, Final Fantasy 8 comes out and the characters actually look like regular characters. But that's not really Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is like these funky little characters, and there's like
Right.
a certain style to it, and it
Outlandish.
lends itself. Yeah, it's a little different. So Final Fantasy 9 comes out and it goes back to these funky little characters, creatures, stubby people, and stuff like that. But Final Fantasy 9, a lot of people say that it is the best story of all of them. I enjoyed it. I actually played it again recently, a couple years ago, and I think it's awesome. I don't think it's the best story. I still like Final Fantasy 7's because it's just so versatile and it just kind of opens up. But yeah, they're remaking 9 apparently. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
Another remake. You think it's gonna be locked down to Sony console, or they're gonna come our way,
uh,
spread the
so
Let's
wealth?
see.
it's yeah, well, hopefully not. That way you guys can not hate on it since it'll be on both consoles. All of a sudden it'll be the best thing ever. I've always liked Final Fantasy. So, nah, it's so with the whole thing with Phil Spencer and Final Fantasy 14 coming to them and 16 eventually coming to them, I believe that by the time that it comes out, maybe we'll be on the level playing field where it'll come out, or maybe a couple months later or something like that, because Square Enix and Sony have a relationship going back 25, 30 years,
They're lovers.
maybe more. Yeah.
They're
So,
lovers.
money is
Yeah.
one thing, but, they,
I'm curious to see
they,
what's gonna happen because I think that that's not really gonna happen going forward much anymore. Like games like timed release on this,
hmm,
you know what I'm saying? This console versus the other. I'm
yeah.
curious to see where it's gonna go.
Just like the whole exclusive content for that he gave Hogwarts for PS5 and didn't give it to the Xbox players. That kind of sucked.
Oh, what did it have?
Yeah, it had like an extra extra quest with the
An extra
arachnids kind of
wand.
thing. Yeah, no, an extra quest that PlayStation 5's got owners got to play that Xbox didn't get to play.
Damn, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
Look it up, boys.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
man.
think that the industry right now is changing, man. It's very hard. Like if you miss one game, you might be out of business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that they're losing a lot of money on the table, just being
Yeah.
locked down to one console.
Yeah,
So
man. I would
see
love
what's
for you
up.
guys to experience. Well, I know Chris played Final Fantasy 7 back in the day. You
Yeah.
already know. I mean, and the thing is, I when they made the remake, I started wondering to myself, I wonder if this is gonna replace the old Final Fantasy. Like, I wonder if it's just gonna be so good and fleshed out that I'm not gonna want to go back to the old one. Nope. I played the old one. I could pick it up, and
It's
it's
different.
it's just yeah, bro. It's its own thing, man. But the remakes, without spoiling the Final Fantasy 7 remake for others, they took the story that we already know and they found a funky way that kind of makes sense if you're open-minded about it to kind of give us something that we're probably going to get in the next game that I can't really say much without spoiling. Then again, I'm spoiling a 25-year-old game. Yeah,
Yeah, but
But basically, all right, I'm gonna fucking say it. Here it comes.
Dude, it's been
Final Fantasy 7
25 years.
spoilers. Yeah, it's been 25 years. I think it's okay. I think that they're gonna make it so that Aerith doesn't die, or it's an option. Because
option,
you think
yeah.
about it, they're talking about multiverse,
Right.
and we're in parallel times, and things are happening that could have never happened. And like in the first one, that I won't spoil. A character dies that does not die in the first one, and then some weird time travel shit happens where they get brought back to life, and it's almost like
Right.
if fate was like, you weren't it. I was supposed to get somebody else. So now fate is involved, and bro, at first I thought this is weird, and when the game concluded, I was like, oh shit, this is deep as fuck. Really interesting. So now I'm getting to play a game that you already know what happens, but we don't know what the hell's gonna happen. Anything can happen at this point. So I'm super excited for that
Do
one.
the
Don't
I
stories
don't even
connect?
come again.
Do the stories connect? Like
connect.
1,
So
2, 3.
Final
Is it like
Fantasy
a connected
7.
universe, or is it their own thing?
So Final Fantasy 7, the original game came on 3 discs because it was a huge
Dang.
Yeah,
game. That
huge
was
game. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
that was when Square Enix pieced out to Nintendo. They had the whole drama where Nintendo kind of screwed over Sony and the whole Sega thing as well and all that crazy shit.
That's some
And then
Shenmue
Sony
shit.
was like, come again?
That's some Shenmue shit right there.
Yeah, exactly. So they went and said, yeah, exactly. Shenmue was like what, 4 discs? So they went and said, hey, listen, Square Enix, I know you want to make this game, and we all know it's not going to fit on an N64 cartridge. So this is how much you could fit on a disc, and you could fit music and audio and everything. So, anyways, the game is one long story that's on 3 discs. So when they started doing the remake, at first we thought, all right, we're going to get it on one shot. It's going to be the biggest game of all time. And then they had to break the news that it's not all going to fit
And
on
one
one
disc. And
shot.
one, yeah.
If not, they would have to be working on it for 15 years before they drop it, and it would be like 6 discs. So finally what they decided is basically it almost goes with disc one and disc two and disc three. Not really though. They're expanding certain parts that are worth expanding, and they're probably gonna speed through some parts that were kind of like whatever. But I've seen the trailers for the next one coming up, and it's incredible. The stuff that it's like imagine like your childhood stuff, like cartoons and stuff or whatever, just remade in the best possible way. Like I don't I don't know. You almost can't even call it a remake. It's its own thing.
His own thing.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the three games are the one big game, but they had to split it into three because
Right.
they've added so
How
much
many
stuff to
gigs?
it.
How many gigs was it? Was it the first game? How many, do you remember?
I want to say it was close to 100, maybe like 90
Really?
gigs or something like
Wow.
that.
So
Yeah.
imagine having 3 games would be like 3,
Ah,
4,
but
especially now with the place like 500 gigs for 3 game for three like a 3 disc game. That'd be amazing. That's a lot. Jesus Christ.
7 leads into 8, 8 leads into 9,
Oh,
9
no, no,
leads
no, no,
into
no.
10.
No. When it comes to Final Fantasy,
Their own
every Final
stories.
Fantasy is its own story.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Not
Every single
every
one. Yeah.
single one. None of them are the same.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
the exceptions,
Yeah.
the exceptions are spin-offs and sequels. Final Fantasy X, I guess people loved 10 so much that they
Mhm.
begged for some kind of sequel, and they
Mhm.
made Final Fantasy X 2.
Yeah.
And then I think Final Fantasy 13 also had a sequel, and then a third one. So that's the extent of it, though. Every single Final Fantasy is its own story. So, and what's funny is, quick little history thing here. The reason that they called it Final Fantasy is because Square or Enix, I don't remember what their name was back in the day, back in the late 80s, they were they basically were getting shut down. Their games weren't very successful, they weren't doing well, and they finally said, "Well, let's make our last game and we're going to call it our Final Fantasy. This is our final game." And that was Final Fantasy 1 that came out on the NES. Needless to say, it blew up. It did good in the US, but it did much better in Japan.
Oh, yeah, of
And that
course.
led way, and that's why our Final Fantasy 2 in the United States that came out for the Super Nintendo in reality is actually Final Fantasy 4. We didn't get the actual 2 and 3 because RPGs have always been more of a Japanese thing. And in the US it's always been
Mm.
more, they didn't really like it too much. So Final Fantasy 2 and 3 are actually 4 and 5. That's why Final Fantasy 7 for us came after Final Fantasy 3. Final Fantasy 3 was actually 6. Yeah, there's a lot of history, man, there,
Yeah.
Wow,
man, but
man.
I'm happy that they've
Confusing.
done so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
But
lot there. If you weren't along for the ride, it's extremely
Oh, I'm
confusing.
happy too. I didn't want to see anybody go out like that,
no.
especially since
Yeah.
the games are so critically acclaimed.
You know
Maybe
what I wish they did
sometimes all
though?
you need is that one chance,
You know what I
change
wish
Hell
they
yeah.
things.
did though?
What's up?
For the remake for the Final Fantasy VII remake, the the gameplay is what got me, man. I couldn't get adjusted to the gameplay because I'm used to the old school,
Turn-based?
items, turn based. Yeah, I love turn based. So I
Yeah.
couldn't adjust to the new game style. I'm gonna give it a try again, but I couldn't adjust to it.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because RPGs, it's always been a turn-based thing or whatever, but as the years have gone on, the majority of the fans now don't want the turn-based thing. They want
Mm.
the new thing.
Mhm.
So fortunately and unfortunately, they're listening to the fans. It's just that we are old men that like old things, I guess. I like turn-based. I like turn-based, but these days apparently, the games that are turn-based don't really sell as much as the big ones. Um,
They won't be in
but
Game
yeah,
of the
man.
Year, man.
Oh,
Oh, I
for
think
for
Baldur's
sure.
Gate is turn-based, no? No.
Yeah, it's actually turn-based on another level. It's like rolling the dice and everything. It's on another level.
Interesting.
I'm
And that
surprised
made
that
it.
so many people. Exactly. That's what's so shocking about that game is like it has done so well despite the fact that it's not necessarily an easy game to just kind of like pick up and go. There's a lot there,
Yeah.
and still it's killer. But then again, you have the Magic the Gathering groups and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
the
Dungeons and
D&D
Dragons.
groups and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they maybe don't even like games that much, but I bet you they went out, bought a PS5, they bought the game or
Yeah.
PC, whatever, and
I can't wait to
that's a
try it.
huge audience there.
I know
can't wait.
Just
somebody
like
at
Pokemon.
work that still plays Magic the Gathering till this day
Yeah.
on his
That's awesome,
computer.
man.
I had a
Right.
shoebox full of cards. I don't know where the hell it went, but I had a shoebox full of Magic the
Uh,
Gathering cards. Yeah.
But he's playing
I wish I
that
would have
that
gone.
card
Mm.
game on his computer. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy
Oh,
every day.
I play one similar to it
so
on my phone all the time. Snap. Marble Snap.
Oh yeah,
nice.
I
I play
started it, but I have to delete those phone games, man. They take over my
Oh.
life.
Yep.
My backlog, my most anticipated
Oh
game,
my.
Red Dead. I missed out, and I was watching a trailer for Red Dead 2. Well, that remaster or whatever you want to say. I
Mm.
don't even know if it's a remaster. But I was just watching the gameplay. Man, I missed out. I love
It's a good game. Rockstar.
Rockstar.
Yeah.
Rockstar's
I
fire,
played
bro.
every
Fire.
single GTA that's come out. The top-down view for the OPCs, all of that,
Yup.
and
That's a
every
great game, man.
game
You
for
will
the
love it.
console. I need to get on Red Dead. I'm hoping that they do like a.
Mm.
I mean, right now on Xbox, if you got the game backwards compat, they up-res everything and optimize it for the system now anyway.
I'm gonna
So,
re-download it.
but
That's awesome.
Red Dead 2, I
Mm.
gotta get on as well. So that series
Yeah.
is something I'm looking forward to.
I I've been meaning to do the same thing on that. I ended up when I got my PS4 Pro, it came bundled with Red Dead Redemption 2, and I played it for a little bit, but they said that the first few hours are slow, and they were right. It's pretty slow,
Yeah.
but
Just like
obviously
Starfield.
it
Yeah.
yeah. And but I went on the PS2 and I got I think it's called Red Dead Revolver.
Oh yeah, that's a great
And
game.
that was the first one.
Yeah, it's a great
And
game.
then yeah, and then they made Red Dead Redemption on the PS3, and then I got that one. I ended up picking that one up not that long ago, the complete edition that has the zombies, which is
Yeah.
pretty badass. So you could beat the game, play your story through, and then there's like all this extra zombie content, which is pretty cool. And then part two, man,
Yeah.
on the newer consoles. I agree with you, man. That game looks ridiculous. It
Hey,
just the graphics and everything,
I'll get it with
you
you
know.
and we'll go back on and play with it again. I'll go with you and
Oh, that's right. They have the online.
yeah. You
Yeah,
go
man.
and you could do like the multiplayer, which is fun too. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I want to
Go
get
around the horse,
those two
you know.
done before the third one comes out, which
Yeah.
I'm sure they're making. I'm sure
And the
it's a
story's
ways
great.
out.
Dude, they better give me Max Payne before they do that. Like how Bethesda is jumping around to all these different games. You know,
Right.
it's like the Elder Scrolls and then now Starfield and
Well,
everything.
isn't Max
I
Payne
really
ABK?
Max Payne is Rockstar.
Rockstar, yeah.
Hold on
Yeah,
one
yeah.
sec.
Makes
Max
sense
Payne,
now,
yeah,
huh?
is
It's
Rockstar,
so
yeah.
good. On the PS2, slowing
I
down the
played all
bullet
three of those
time.
games, man.
Right. It's the same thing with
So
The
good.
pills.
Red Dead Redemption. You can slow out the bullet,
Yes.
which is cool.
Love that shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
man.
Rockstar. Wow,
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah. Rockstar, man.
that's what's up.
There have been there's been a lot of chatter and a lot of rumors about GTA 6. Supposedly in a couple days, we're supposed to get a trailer to have a
Hmm.
better idea of what we're dealing with here. Have you guys heard any of these little rumors going on about?
Not lately. I
No?
haven't seen anything yet. I mean, I haven't been looking either. But no.
Yeah,
How about
man.
you?
I have
So,
seen, but
oh,
I look away purposely. I don't want anything to get ruined. Those
Spoiled,
leaks
yeah.
coming out. I don't know what's right, what's wrong, what's left, what's right.
yeah.
What's up.
Well, I've actually been looking at them, and I could tell you that they haven't really leaked anything. Like there's nothing about the story. There's a lot of people creating fake news, um, and it's sometimes you could just kind of tell that it's BS. They're taking little bits of information that Rockstar has put out in the past, and they're kind of manipulating it and then putting it out and making it seem like that's it. They may have just revealed the characters, just an image of them, and it is a male and a female like they mentioned. And but what caught my eye that I thought was pretty cool is some guy who posts about nothing but GTA, um posted and said, oh, they're saying that there's going to be beaches in the city, but there's also going to be farmlands and everything. And he goes, man, Miami is a huge area to work with, and they put a screenshot of Miami-Dade County from top to bottom, and I saw that the guy had a pin in the area of the Redlands. So he must have
Oh.
Googled, Miami Farms and found the Redlands.
No way.
So, maybe he's onto something there, because
Yeah.
it'll be pretty interesting, because there is a lot of stuff out there. You have all these $1 million mansions out there in the middle of nowhere. You have all these fields. You have an airport way out west. You've got the Keys to the south.
Yeah.
There's a
Hey,
lot
that's
to
home
work
for
with
me.
there.
That's
Hey,
my
you
next
could
Yeah.
door over here. I'm
you
down
could steal
south,
you
right
could
next to the Redlands.
you could steal a
Yeah,
car,
man.
right? You could steal a car and drive it to Knott's Berry Farm and get a cinnamon roll.
Yes.
Hey,
They don't know about that.
They
They don't
know
know
about
about
that.
that life.
Nah. Get a
Yeah,
strawberry shake
man.
and a cinnamon roll, and then take
pass by
off.
my old middle school, say what's
Yeah.
up.
Go to South Ridge.
Yeah.
Go to South Ridge.
Yeah, bro. Man, but so somebody put up a picture that looked like a GTA style map, and it was a Miami one. And they
No
moved a
way.
few things around, and you could tell that some things are bigger than they should be. Like Miami Beach is huge compared to the
Right.
whole map, and then other areas are small or kind of missing. The airport is kind of shifted over a little bit. It's not where it belongs. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, this might be, an old rendering from the past that somebody found. So pretty exciting, man. They got a lot to work with in Miami. There's a
Yeah.
lot of vices down in Vice City.
Bro,
All right.
I hope it takes place down here in Miami, like a Vice City. I hope they bring that back. That was my
Hmm.
favorite GTA.
Yeah.
I really liked what they did with that. The whole character
Yeah.
swapping thing was not my forte, but it was still good.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
in the last GTA. But Vice
I
City, I
enjoyed
don't
it.
know,
I
man.
had a good
Vice
time.
City was awesome.
The story in the last GTA was so over the top that I loved it, man. The Michael story, with his messed up family and dysfunctional family, and the wife cheating on him and finding all this stuff,
Yeah.
and then obviously Trevor.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, dude, he's awesome.
fucking Trevor, bro. That guy's really, like, you'll be there. You'll switch over to him. You'll be playing as one character, and the story switches you to him, and all of a sudden he's passed out drunk on like a container ship in his
Like, what
underwear.
the hell am I doing
And
here?
you're
Yeah.
like, okay, where the hell's my car? How do I even get back? So, bro, it's just I'm excited to see what they do with this. But they're saying it definitely is gonna be Miami, which I
Well,
love how Rockstar does that. They jump around from one of the main cities.
Yeah.
It's New York, LA, Miami. It's always one of those.
the triangle. It's the
I
Bermuda
really love Trevor,
Triangle
dude. That dude is
of the
hilarious.
US.
Oh yeah, yeah. So the Bermuda Triangle was on that map that I saw.
Yeah,
That
I'm
Okay.
looking
is
at it
gonna be
now.
pretty interesting, bro, because they all have like a Bigfoot or aliens or something like that. So it's gonna
Oh
be
yeah,
really
yeah.
interesting to see what they do with the Bermuda Triangle,
You
bro.
probably
Whew,
take a boat
that's gonna
out
be good.
there
Maybe you
and
find
it sinks.
Try to get the Bimini and get sucked out.
Yeah, maybe you find Atlantis.
Oh wow.
I'm telling you,
Hey.
like they
Yeah,
could do a lot of cool stuff, man.
yeah, yeah. We'll see. That'll be pretty
And
dope.
now that their competitor, what's that whack ass game called? The wannabe Grand Theft Auto,
Oh,
um,
Saints Row?
Saints Row.
Oh,
Now that they
One was
shot
trash.
themselves in the foot.
Yeah,
Yeah, the old ones were good, but this recent
I
one was a
know.
complete garbage.
yeah.
So maybe now they're gonna take the mantle and do some of that wacky stuff that they used to do. I
What
don't
Right.
do you
know.
guys think? So, I believe Rockstar came out and said that they're gonna announce the trailer or something like that in the
The
next couple weeks.
the
Yeah,
VGAs.
supposedly early
They're gonna.
December.
So you think they're
For
gonna do it at the VGA or they're gonna do it before or after?
before.
Like
I
aside
think they're
from
gonna I think they're gonna do it on their own. Knowing Rockstar, they've got so much money, so much success. They are an unstoppable force. They don't want there to be the chance that any other thing um basically steals their thunder. So if it's in the VGA, it's gonna be because it already came out for us. It's gonna be like some kind of like a, you know, state of play or, Nintendo Direct kind of thing.
Mm.
They're gonna say tune in on such and such, and then they're gonna play it. and everybody's gonna lose their minds, and that's
I
it.
agree. I think it's separate from the VGAs. They have so much. Like that's gonna be the most anticipated game of all time, hands
Of
down.
all
Nothing's
time.
gonna even come close. And they have enough clout right now to do it on their own, and still take away from the shine of the VGA. No matter what world
Yeah.
premiere we see on that thing,
Yeah, it's gonna take
GTA is
over.
gonna take over.
Yo, people are going to be jumping out of their seats and people are going to be so excited that it's going to be hard to continue to focus on whatever the show comes. It's going to be like a huge spike and then everything chills out. And no, man, they're not going to do it. The VGAs probably wouldn't want to for that reason, too.
Oh, I think
Trying to think like a business.
Keely's all over that, trying to pay whatever he can to get that on his show.
I heard he was going to have just a bunch of Doritos commercials like last year.
Oh boy.
Last year was terrible, man. In between everything was a fucking commercial
Really?
for some bullshit, including like Doritos, like Jesus Christ.
Mountain Dew, probably.
Yeah, man, just ridiculous. Like, what are you guys doing? But
Oh man.
yeah, man, we'll see.
right.
Where the next time you hear our voices, I think it would have passed, right?
Yeah.
No, maybe we got something else for you. I'm not sure.
We'll see.
We'll
We might
see.
do
We'll see.
we might do a Christmas episode with PJs on.
Oh shit.
Let's get it.
Yeah, man. So most likely the next time you'll hear from us will likely be the predictions. We're putting out a predictions episode. It'll be much shorter than our usual episodes. We're just going to kind of go over all the, all the categories and talk about what we think should win and could win. BJ had a great idea where it's not just, voting for what we think will win, but what we really would want to win, even if we don't think it might. So I think that's a pretty cool concept.
You know who's in the game winning game of the year? You know who?
Mario Wonder.
God.
No. It's gonna be Resident Evil 4. Watch.
Get out of here.
As it should be.
I'll be so freaking angry.
Dog.
I'll be so mad.
Nah.
Resident
it's
Evil 4 game of the year. Now watch. Watch it. Don't put it past
Tears of the Kingdom 100%. Maybe Baldur's Gate, but Tears of the Kingdom most likely. If Baldur's Gate wins, it'll be some weird upset.
I think Baldur's Gate will take it.
But it could.
I think he'll take it.
Golden joystick, bro.
They'll take it.
Who won Golden Joystick? Baldur's
Gate.
Really?
I think so.
Zelda might finally meet his match.
This is another. Well, I'm gonna save it for the next predictions episode. We're giving away too much.
All right, yeah.
All right, guys. If you like what you heard, you know what to do. Give it a like, give us a sub. It'll help.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
That's right.
I'm biased, y'all. Peace.
Shout out Hot Dog Cart.